This is the bit about Hank.
Okay, so let me carry on that thought. So, okay, so this is all about liberation, right? So if a guru can't grant you your liberation, otherwise you're not really liberated. So let me describe it like this. There are lots of stories about this. Like, so Sri Ramakrishna used to tell the story. This has lots of aspects, but one of them is this, that this guy, he needs to cross the Ganges every day or something, and he almost gets swept away or something. So he asks, can you just give me something so I can walk on water, I think is the premise. And so the guru says, sure, just, here, I'll prepare this thing, and it's just a little leaf. He gets a banyan leaf, he like rolls it up. He says, put the thread around your ankle, tie this leaf to your ankle, and you'll be able to walk across the Ganges, no problem. There are lots and lots of coded meanings in it. The thread, I think, is Brahmanic thread. The Brahmins have a thread. So anyway, there are lots of these things are just dense with. But anyway, stick with me on this. So the guy goes walking across the Ganges every day, and he says, whatever you do, don't look inside the leaf. And so the guy, it's fine for a while. He walks across the Ganges for ages, and then one day he starts thinking about it and thinks, what did the guru put in that leaf, and what does make me walk on water and stuff? And eventually he thought, I'll just have a look. And even though guru said, like, don't look at it, he's not going to know if I just take a quick peek. So he reaches down, picks up the leaf, he just opens it up, and the guru's just scratched Rama in crude letters. And then he goes, what the fuck? That's it? And immediately sinks below the waves and drowns. Now, you can spend a lifetime just thinking over what that's all about. But in essence, what the guru's done by giving the guy a leaf, he's also basically, he hasn't really liberated him to walk on water. He's granted him the ability to walk on water, and that gets taken away as soon as basically he looks at the leaf. So if I give you a token or diadem or a magic amulet, and I say this makes you walk on water, I can take it away again by taking that amulet away. Now, what the guru and every guru in India knows is the guy can walk on water. You just give him a leaf to get over his inability to believe in himself enough to walk on water. But as soon as you've given him something like that, it's a cheat, and you'll take it away again. So you were talking about being on the ledge and stuff. So, like, what I have done with these previous two people, let's say the last guys are also left. Okay, let's just name him Hank. So Hank, basically, if you saw the postings and stuff, is, see, I do what I do to everybody, is take them out on the fucking wing, and then say, basically say, going to teach you, how to fly. And then basically you say, oh, when they're out on the wing, they say, okay, have you packed my parachute? And I say, yeah, I packed your parachute. Guess what? You got fuck all in your parachute. You're out on the wing, and you just got my rucksack. So there you go. Now, imagine like the cheesy Hollywood version of this. Then cheesy Hollywood version would say, like, the guy hanging on the wing there would be like, Master, I need to know that I can fly. I must trust you. Let me know that I can believe in you. Can I fly? And then the master would say, Grasshopper, you must have faith. You can fly. And then it'd be like a huge effort of will, and he'd let go, and he would fly. And, that's fucking Hollywood. But you see why it's so wrong is that because the master granted him his ability to fly, he can take it away again. He can meet him on the street and say, I gave that to you, I'm taking it back. So if your liberty is given to you, whoever gave it to you can take it back again. So it's very important that you have to take your own liberty. So then you can't trust me. Don't trust me at all. So what Hank is saying in this, in the stuff he writes, he's saying, like, oh, I don't know if you're sane. Like some people even said that you weren't sane. And I say, like, Trust me, I'm fucking balmy. You'll never get a bigger and more insane shit than me. If you're here for sanity, fuck off. I don't have a shred of sanity in me. You see, what he's saying is, I need to trust you. Please trust me and tell me I can fly. And say, I'm never going to tell you that. So basically, what you're going to be hanging on the wing, and I'm going to say, it's very important that anybody who listens to me say but just I'll let go as long as you tell me I can fly. And I say you can fly, but I'm fucking mad, and maybe I'm the joker. And basically, I'll tell you, maybe you let go and you just go bomb and you make a big crater in the ground, and I laugh my fucking head off because I'm the joker, and I go, there's one of these born every fucking minute. You tell them they can fly, they let go, smack into the ground, funny as shit, and on to the next one. And maybe that's my job. Maybe that's what I do. Maybe I'm just drawing you into insanity, and I laugh my fucking head off when you bomb me. So don't trust me, not one tiny little bit.
No, I can feel myself looking to you for reassurance. Oh,
you see, the worst thing I can do is you see, if I'm a right old cunt, I'll reassure you. But you see, then you can draw in a following, and then you can get. It's great for getting crew on a boat. I can have you polishing that. You can be scrubbing the decks, and I'll say liberation is coming later, James. Just keep polishing the deck. That'd be a great way to run a boat. But you see, you're never liberated. You see, the way it should be, if you go back to the Hollywood version of this, is the way it should be and it is that way now with Hank. Where it's left with Hank is a good place to be, because basically you should be hanging on the wing, and then you'd be like, I can't trust Hugh. He's a cunt extraordinary, and he's a mad fuck, and he's evil as all hell, and no one in the right. But he's put me out on the wing. And then at some stage you're gonna hang onto that wing and hang onto that wing, and at some stage you're gonna I can't hang onto this wing any longer. I don't give a fuck anymore. I hate this life. Goodbye, cruel world. I don't care if I fucking die, and let go. I'm not going to tell you whether you crater or not. But that's the right attitude. If you get to the end of your tether, that's ataraxia, or as they assure me in Greece, ataraxia. But that's the right frame of mind. If you let go when you don't give a rat's ass anymore, fuck it, goodbye, cruel world. That's it. Yeah. Then if you're ever going to be enlightened, it'll be at that point. You're not going to get enlightened while you go, okay, master, I trust you, and give me my wings and stuff. And so the guys that give you your wings like that, they haven't let you free. There's attachments to it. So the very few guys set you free. But you see, this is the amazing thing: is we are in Auschwitz, but it's the most amazing Auschwitz you can imagine, because the gates open. Yeah. It's true. It's Auschwitz. It's true. There are guards on the gates. There are machine guns pointing at you. But if you just here's the thing. You know that not Berlusconi. What's that guy? The Life is Beautiful movie. That Italian guy that he got hammered so badly for making that movie about the father and son in Auschwitz, and then he made a game out of Auschwitz, and then people hated it because they said, you can't make a game out of Auschwitz. That's terribly bad taste. And although he got lots of Oscars for it, it was called what's his name?
Bertolucci, is it?
Bertolucci, yeah, not Berlusconi. Bertolucci.
I don't think he did make it.
Bertolucci, right? And so if I was Bertolucci, I would make a movie that people would hate even more, because it would be even more controversial. But what I would have done is I would have got that little boy and the father, and eventually they come to their wits' end. They can't take it anymore. They basically, it's this whole sham that it's a game is not working, and eventually the father breaks down and says to the little boy, is like, I'm sorry, this is just the worst place in the world. It's hell. I was trying to make a game from it, but these people are absolutely fucking evil, and I can't go on with the sham anymore. We're just fucked. I'm sorry. I did my best. And then I'd make the son say, if I wrote the script, I'd make the son say, like, Dad, there is some way we can win this game. Say, like, and he'd say, like, but no, son, these people are evil. You can never win against them. They will fucking grind you into the ground. He said, like, Dad, there's one way. Say, we can kill ourselves. They're going to kill us, but we can win if we killed us. And he said, like, well, yeah, but what do you suggest? So say, we just walk out the gate right into the machine guns and die by cop.
Yeah.
And then basically the two of them would go, okay, son, are you ready? Are you sure you want to do this? This is Thelma and Louise. And you go marching towards the gates. And then basically they would get to a red line, you know, right at the gates. And all the, you know, the guys on the guard towers would be like, you know the rules, cross that red line. And they would be like cocking their guns. And they'd say, are you ready, son? And they would both say yes. And then their music would be crescendo and they'd build up and they would step over into the line like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And their feet would cross the line and land on the side of the sun. The music would stop and they'd be like, crickets, birds tweeting, no gunshots. And they'd look. The guys in the guns would be still there pointing at them and go, and they go like, oh, fuck, you're not shooting. We are over the line. See the foot?
Yeah.
And then there's like, and they'd take another step and the guards would be like, not really moving, just turn away a little bit, starting to lose interest. And they'd be like, both feet over the line. And the guys would be like, you know, the guy would just salute them. The other guy would go and light up a cigarette. They'd go back to do. And the guys go, what? They take another step, another 3 steps, look back. But now the guards have totally lost interest. They're going on with their day. And then they'd like run 500 yards and then go, oh, we're still not shut. And then they would run off into the hills and it would be like the sound of music. And they'd be like, you know, on these green hills with the trees and the butterflies and the flowers and just run away. And that's how I would end the movie. It would be really, really controversial because you're saying, what are you saying? That the guys could have just walked out of Auschwitz?
It's a movie.
Yes. Yeah. But
anything can happen. It's a movie.
Way, yes, you can. Everybody could have just walked out. In fact, if I pissed anybody off, I might as well double down. You know, that is actually what happened in Auschwitz. Is that I've said in previous videos that, you know, when you see those people all emaciated, and they're just walking skeletons, well, you have to take 4 days of starvation off those guys that was self-imposed. And that does people's heads in. But the truth is that the Nazis, the SS guards, they left 4 days ahead of the liberators coming into those camps. So when those pictures are taken, there's at least 4 or 5 days where the guys sat in the camps with the gates open and did fuck all. So they spend years just dreaming of the day that this nightmare would end and they could walk out. And as soon as they opened the gates and they could have walked out, they stayed exactly where they were. And the reason was learned helplessness. The whole system and everything had encouraged them for learned helplessness, so that they couldn't walk out. And that, in essence, that's the situation we're in, and that's the situation that you know, the Jordan Peterson situation is.
Exactly. Yeah, it comes back to that, and it comes back to what the guy in the check shirt was, the point he was making about the psychiatrist and the psychologist not quite being the people to be able to encourage the mental illness. And it's a bit like me with my child. You can sort of see a thing of like, oh, this is terrible, son, but I'll have to train you up to live in the Auschwitz, you know, and the gates open, and you sort of, you think that's not right. Sorry, I'm not making a lot of sense.
Okay, but wait, I got to be. You prompted me to backtrack. So this is something personal, right? It's different for child development. So my theory on child rearing is you can't really go you're not doing your kids any favors by making them cultural freaks.
No, I feel the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, in terms of schooling and stuff like
Yeah.
that, I because I have such radical views, I've been, my kids are like 20 and 18 now, and but because I have such radical views, I was scrupulously careful not to
Yeah.
impose them on my kids, because I
Yeah.
saw other people that did it, and
Yeah.
you know, anarchists and counterculturalists, and they said, you know, we're gonna bring you up vegan, and you're not gonna have TV, and you're gonna read all this radical literature, and you're not gonna be taken in by capitalism, and basically they live to regret it, because
Yeah.
you can't go against the prevailing culture. When in Rome, you have to do as the Romans do, and unfortunately, your kids are not yours. Your kids are absolutely individuals. But what I thought would happen and did is my kids are super good. I mean, they're super obedient, so well. It's like, big, even though I tried hard to get them to be rebellious and to be complete terrorists, I failed miserably. In fact, it went the opposite way. But what I thought would happen and did was that just my ideas and thinking would unconsciously bleed into them, and that is what happened. So yeah, you don't have to tell your kids anything. You can just let them be kids, and so yeah,
That's what I do. That's
yeah,
what I do. Yeah. But thanks for that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think one thing I've noticed
in America, we fuck our kids up completely. Just basically trying to put too much into them and filling them, you know, with there's this wish fulfillment culture, and parents screw up and then transfer their ambitions onto their kids, and it's just cultural abuse that is perpetuated generation to generation. And basically, well, I'm proud to say that I broke that chain, because I didn't do that. So I put all the work into not giving a cultural indoctrination to my kids, withholding any sort of indoctrination. Yeah.
Hugh,
So
I think
I'm a radical nut, they hold the same views.
Hugh, just on what you were just talking about there, when I've observed other people and my own life, what people seem to get from their parents is not what they taught them, but how they were.
Yeah.
When I think of what I got from my parents, it had nothing to do with what they wanted to tell me. What I got from them was how they were as people, which was never spoken and never taught.
No.
And I've seen that in other people. You just, you know, it's like a little bit like, you know, don't do as I say, do as, or they've done as they've done, not done as they've said, you know. That they pick something else up in another way, and often stronger things that are not even necessarily good qualities, you know, but you can see that it's been, you know, what you've deliberately set out to do, it generally just doesn't get across, or is a miserable failure for one reason or other, but the unspoken stuff does get through. So if you I mean, in your case, you probably would have been probably a more genuine example than a lot of people, I guess. So it's worked really well.
Yeah, that do as I say, not as I do thing is a plague in America, because what the kids pick up on what you do, they don't give a rat's ass about what you say, and so the example that most people in America are setting is these two-parent households where both parents work, they're completely frazzled, they barely holding it together, they on pills, they're basically running around doing this rat race, and they communicating that as a role model to kids.
Yeah.
But the kids are rejecting it. So most kids are growing up now absolutely convinced. The Gen Z is absolutely convinced they're not going to do whatever their parents did. They don't know what the fuck else to do
No.
because they don't have any other role models. But who's after the boomers? Gen Z,
X.
Gen X. Yeah, the Gen Xers. They basically they convinced that they're not going to grow up like Gen Xers, but they don't know what the fuck else to grow up as because they know the role models.
I thought that the idea that someone mentioned on the Reddit sub of liberate Gen Z, I thought that
The
a lot.
Z-bellion. I'm trying to get the Z-bellion going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that had something really in it. Like, fucking leave them alone. Let them go. Do you know what I mean? Let them go. Don't
This is
drag
my
them.
shit.
Drag them down this path when we can see where it's leading.
Yeah, I think it's totally moral what we're doing because we, you know, anybody I talk to, whatever they say in terms of collapse denial is if they a boomer, they're a doomer. I can't, you after glasses of wine, I talk to anybody, they don't give us rat's hope in hell of a few more decades. And then you say, well, why are you sending your kids to school? Why are you sending them to college?
Shit.
And telling them about what they have to do in terms of career, like it's the 1950s. It's like unconscionable when you know that we all fucked and we're all fucked soon. It's like, why aren't we saying this? Why aren't we saying why? You know, there's no one. I mean, they're teaching kids in school. They're telling them doomer stuff, and they're telling them basically you are fucked. It's not even a secret in the schools now. But then why aren't we changing everything? Why aren't we saying forget about a pension, forget about higher education? You're not going to get a guaranteed job. AI has already taken your job. It's like saying let's liberate them. That's the least we can do after we toasted the entire world. And but no one will have that conversation. There are two cultures. There's the culture of bringing up kids, which is you pretend we're in the 1950s and they have a future, and then you have, you know, the conversation of where the world is at, and then we're all fucked. But they won't let those lines cross. You know, it's terrible. I think it's unconscionable that we're not even allowed to talk about this.
On a practical level, what you think people should just sort of say to their kids, okay, we'll just keep you alive, kind of thing, and you can just do what you want, or how would
try to tell the truth as best as possible. So nobody really knows how screwed we are. But you could definitely let them know that if you believe that we're, you know, near-term human extinction is a thing, you ought to be having that discussion with your kids, and it'll surprise you. I mean, the kids know all this. I had this discussion with my kids, and they said, "Yeah, we knew all this already." Yeah. They knew we all fucked. They already decided they're not going to have kids because they don't want to have kids in front of the steamroller. So the kids will surprise you if anybody's listening to this and they're worried about the conversation about doomerism. Is there's a lot of work to do as soon as we get onto doomerism. As soon as everybody admits we're fucked, that's when the work starts, you know.
But this is ataraxia again. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to do things different, to not feel so hemmed in, to sort of shove society off a bit, to get your values right about what's important in the day. The day, you know, as you always say, Hugh, it can be good. It can be one of the best times.
Yeah. That's the thing. Is like it's because you see here again, and this is why I'm quite prepared to talk about stuff like enlightenment in the same breath as, say, climate activism, is because you can't get to one without the other. Is if you say, you know, well, the planet's doomed, therefore I'm depressed and I'm grieving, Therefore, I take the human extinction in very negative terms, and then I express it in very negative terms, and then I assume everything's a downer. But you say, well, that's your grief talking, and say, but if you got over that grief, then you'd say, like, well, once you absolutely accept that we're all toast, well, then there's a whole, it's not implied at all that you have to be down or depressed. In fact, the opposite. A lot of people say, well, if you don't, you see this on Reddit all the time. It's like, if you think we're all fucked, why don't you just go out and commit suicide now? Well, what the bit of your brain that's saying that is your alien cortex. And it's saying, like, if I can't win, fuck the lot of you, we should all die. And you're saying, like, well, straight away the aim is to get enlightened and say, you're not built for longevity anyway, Mr. Alien Cortex. So the sooner we get you out of the picture, the sooner the party can start. And so you can't divorce climate change and activism and enlightenment, because the bit that's telling you, Michael Mann saying, don't give up hope, we still have human agency, that's his alien cortex talking. And the sooner that shuts up and Michael Mann says to the world, we are fucked, you say, great. Well, straight away, get your alien cortex out of the way, because it's like, it's got nothing to offer now. Now what do? Now we have a party. It's kind of like McPherson is saying, when on the edge of extinction only love remains. Well, it's like, yeah, it's a bit woo-woo. But I mean, say, on the edge of extinction, you might as well basically maximize the time we've got left. In the time you've got left, your kids that are 20 can have the best time of the last 3 generations in that time. It's that your alien cortex thinks in terms of sidereal and chronological time. So everybody wants, how much time have we got? And like, have we got till 2050? Because then it's going to time box it. But no one knows if we got till 2050. And then if you're talking about, cut the alien cortex out, then it's Kairos time. Well, yes. You might have an hour to live. You might have the firing squad might be coming for you at dawn tomorrow. But this might be the best fucking night of your life. You might give up 1,000 years to have this one night. Yeah. So it doesn't apply. The logic of depression and extinction doesn't apply. The reason it's coming is because of psychology. Therefore, it's closely bound. The activism, doomism, and enlightenment, they all connected, they're inseparable. So, a lot of people say, like, can't we get onto activism and stuff and leave the enlightenment out? And you say, well, you won't get very far.
No. And we saw Extinction Rebellion getting close to that with Gail Bradbrook and her crew and her ayahuasca and all this. But I mean, we're not going to go into Extinction Rebellion now, but somehow the whole thing ended up so many different factions, and it's just all gone to shit. But it was there, wasn't it? It was as they say in their terminology, it was a piece. It was a piece of the thing.
But here's since you raised that, then this Gail is a good example of what I was saying earlier about having your enlightenment granted to you by some kind of token. So if you go to South America and then you have your enlightenment given to you by ayahuasca, it's conferred to you by ayahuasca, and you have to see it in those terms. You have to come back to the UK and then talk about it in terms of, I was given my enlightenment in the jungle of South America, and then I came, and then basically I met Roger Hallam, and then I asked for the codes for social change.
Yeah.
But then you're asking again to be granted the code for social change. It's like, here's what you need to do. Stay in London, have the ayahuasca experience without ayahuasca in your own head, stew your own head, have your own enlightenment, and give yourself the own codes. Don't take the codes from somebody, grant them yourself, like Alexander cutting the Gordian knot. You're saying the codes for social change is like, get it from yourself. It's just take them. walk out the fucking gates, blow shit up. It's like there's the idea of giving codes where you can unlock the key and do this finesse social change is the blockage. The liberation is to say, I demand liberation. I'm going out to fucking blow this shit up. I'm taking my liberation. And then you say, that's the code. That's the code, you know.
Yeah. So she came in on the ayahuasca train, had her experience, and as you said previously, Hugh, she's sort of come out the other side slightly on the wrong track because she's gone in on the ayahuasca train.
And well, nothing can go well after that, because then you polarized and factionalized. And so then immediately then she talks about how other people should go and have ayahuasca like her, and then basically we should take psychedelics. And while she's saying this, the you know, most of the people are going, oh, that's woo-woo crazy stuff, and they're all backing off.
Yeah.
So so it's that's the reason is you know, it's if you come out polar, it's like a spectrum of light. If you come out with some chromatically colored light from the prism, you're always going to be on the left or the right. Whereas we want to come out full spectrum.
Anyway, they've got that TV presenter now, so we don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah, that's good.
I was wondering who
Alison
paid
Grossman.
her.
Alison Grossman? Oh yeah, sure. Well, talk about grassroots. Yeah, that's manufactured as all hell.
Yeah. I was interested. I'm kind of interested now. Is she getting paid? I'd really like to follow the money trail and just sort of go: is Extinction Rebellion paying her now full time? Who's providing that money?
Follow the money. Follow the money. I think it winds up with some green billionaire in Sweden.
Can I just go back a bit here? Do you mind, to where you were talking about liberating Generation Z?
Oh yeah, we better round off, because I think we're probably on the end of the second.
Are we getting close? Yeah. Okay. Well, we might leave it.
Let's do your question and then round it off. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if my question is a little bit too practically oriented, and it might be invalid, but I had the opportunity to sort of leave the system when I was quite young. It was due to a misfortune, but the misfortune brought me a bank full of money. And so I walked out of everything. And I think that was, just in a nutshell, a very important part of the kind of spiritual process for me. And I've now got a nephew who's just leaving high school. And I could give him a wad of money and give him that same opportunity. Is that the way to do it or not? Is that a, or is it just something, if he's going to be liberated, he's just got to be liberated. It's not going to be via somebody's effort or somebody doing something.
Have you ever heard of a case where anybody was given a wedge of money and it worked out well?
I mean, I had a very hard time, but I think it did make the difference that I could mostly separate.
Might have been your case, but I mean, if somebody was granted just a big wedge of money from somebody else.
I don't know. I'm just
money. Yes, money is the devil's.
Up to us. Well, it is. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You could get completely lost and do all sorts of crazy stuff, or you could use it to insulate yourself from all the crap that other people are forced to work, to go to university, all the stuff that ties them to the system and uses up all their time. I think the most important thing that came out of it for me was that it freed up my inner space. I had space which I would never have been able to get otherwise.
But so money is a magnifier, right? So whatever the person is, they'll be allowed to magnify it as soon as they're given the money.
Yeah. So it's I see what you mean. Yeah.
So it's basically you're going to accentuate whatever the person is the most likely outcome of giving a whole load of money to them.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Can I ask something or follow up?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
Please.
I have something similar to Gary's case, and I remember your story about the girlfriend from Vietnam who basically had to pay her worth or her family her weight in gold so that she can come to the West. And I see a nephew back in Asia, and he is very smart and sharp. And basically, I'm trying to just pay, in a sense, like the ransom to free him so that he can come to the West and at least prolong his life, experience some these last few years or decades and be able to help support his family. So I am I am not wealthy, but I think that um, I'm trying to justify it because it's like paying the ransom for him to be free for a few years, whatever last years he will have.
But surely, it's just a matter of the heart, isn't it?
Yes.
If you just uh, it really matters to me. All I'm hearing is that your heart is talking, and you should go with your heart. The fact that you have the money to do what your heart wants is kind of nice. You should, but you don't. I wouldn't lead with your head in a situation like that. I would lead with your heart.
Yeah.
That would be my advice in that situation.
Thank you.
This is the way I see it is you're not going to think your way to a solution without regret. So I could tell you how to do it and do it formally in like a decision theorist way. So a decision theorist would say you can do a table, you can do your values. You can basically normalize that table and basically see what values dominate, and then you can come to an outcome which they say is provable that you would have the least regret. It would be entirely from your alien cortex and would be a rational outcome. And why I think it's not a good idea to do a rational thing like that is because of so many ways. Your alien cortex has a limited amount of processing capacity and a limited view. It just has a small frame. So to give the decision over to your alien cortex in the hope that you make a wise decision and one without regret is probably a long shot because it's clearly not in the domain that is something that can be adjudicated by your alien cortex. It's clearly in the domain of your heart and your bond, the personal bonds and your primate brain bonds, your mammalian brain bonds, basically the fish brain bonds. It's the deeper layers. So let them decide, and they've probably already spoken, right? Isn't that how it is?
Yes, he has expressed the desire to leave.
What I'm
Oh, you
saying is
mean me? You
you're
mean
talking
me?
heart to
My
heart with each
parts.
other. You talk,
Yeah.
both of you are talking heart to heart. So if you
Yeah.
ask him, should you make this decision, I'd say, yeah, make it based on your heart, not on your head.
Yes, it is. It is a big burden because it's savings I have put away for my old age, but maybe there will be no old age if
Old age.
if
Okay,
collapse comes soon.
now look what you're doing there. So the thing that's thinking in terms of old age and thinking ahead and planning in terms of that's clearly your alien cortex.
Yeah.
So it's rationalizing a winning path. Now, what's the chances that your alien cortex has all the information available at its fingertips, that it can see as much of the future that's going to happen, that it can hedge all the bets, that it has perfect information to make that decision? Very low. Very low. You don't really know the future and what will happen personally. So that's why it says in the Bible is cast your bread on the water, because it's saying don't try and second guess life in that kind of detail. If you have an open heart and you go with your older evolutionary brain layers, they pay back as well, because there are all sorts of reciprocal things that happen at that level that don't happen at the level of your head. For starters, people have gratitude, and people, basically there's, you probably might be better off with a relative than you are with a lump sum of cash. Basically,
Yes.
the economy, I'm telling you, is tanking right now. You might find the dollar goes through the floor, and then imagine how you'll cry and grind your teeth when you're like, fuck, the dollar's worth nothing. I've lost it all anyway. I could have actually had him over. And so I encourage you not to work out a matter of the heart with your head. It's fatal.
Thank you.
Cast the bread on the water, Hugh. What's that? I don't know that.
On the Sermon on the Mount, it's
right.
Basically Jesus says, cast the bread upon the water and it'll come back 1,000-fold. It's just saying, take a chance, chance, and it'll come back. And I can vouch for that. I mean, I can tell anybody that certainly you're doing stuff like sailing or basically nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's all that kind of sentiment. So it's basically I can vouch in my own life that the things that really paid off 1,000-fold were the venturesome things, the things where I took on risk and was brave. Basically fortune favors the brave is another thing. There's so many epithets like this. It's also the foundation of tele-evangelism as well. So they go over there and say, cast your bread upon the waters, brother. Dial 1-800, give your money to a cunt, and then basically say, give your money here, and it will come back 1,000-fold, Like,
that's what the ARG needs.
I'll give you
that is what the ARG needs.
I promise, Yeah. Give your money to Hugh. 1-800, huge big boat.
I'll buy one of those magic amulets you mentioned earlier, Hugh, if you've got any.
I do. I sell them on Amazon. Special offer. I sell them in bulk. Money back guarantee if you wind up being killed.
I'll put that on. I'll do some ayahuasca and.
Yeah, it's a money back guarantee if you still wind up with an ego. if you don't lose your ego on the first shot, I'll give you your money back.
Okay, are we done?
Right. Yeah, this is enough for tonight.
Yeah.
Yep. So basically, the takeaway message is, cast your bread to Hugh, come back 1,000-fold. I promise you.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for that. Thank you. That was nice to be here and see you all. And
nice
okay.
Nice to see you.
See you again.
Very nice to see you in person. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see you all again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Take care,
Okay,
everyone.
then. Bye-bye. Bye.